Hey, what's up guys? Matt here with Fix Anything Save Money. Today we are going to be showing you how to tune up and replace the fuel lines on this Echo GT 2000 trimmer. So we're going to be walking you through the process step by step, and we're going to be using this tune-up kit made by a company called Hypa. And you can see you get your air filter, a new spark plug. They give you a priming bulb and a carburetor. I already made the video on how to replace the carburetor, so I'm going to put a link right in the top right hand corner, so be sure to check that out. And then they also give you a new fuel line. So pretty much what we're going to be doing in this video is the spark plug, the air filter, and then the fuel lines. Okay, so this is super easy. Echo makes it very easy to work on this machine. So the first thing we're going to do is just replace the air filter by just turning this wing nut counterclockwise and removing the cover, and you can see the old dirty filter. Now you could either choose to replace this fully, or you could clean it out with soapy water. Just let it dry on a windowsill for a while. You don't want to put these back in wet and start it. But we're going to be replacing it with a brand new filter. So we'll just put that in like so. And then we're just going to put our cover back on. Tighten our wing nut down. Okay, so air filter's done. Now we'll show you the spark plug. We're just going to remove this cap. You can see it's kind of electrical taped. So that's going to expose our spark plug. And then what we're going to use is a 3/4 inch socket and ratchet. And we're just going to break this free, rotating it counterclockwise. And once you kind of break it free, you can take it out by hand. Okay. And then we're just going to replace it with our new plug. These Hypa kits are really nice because they give you everything you need, including the carburetor. So I highly recommend you check them out. So then we're just going to put the new plug in. Now we're just going to tighten it down. Put the cap back on. Okay, so now we have a new plug in, we have a new air filter in. Now what I want to show you is the fuel line replacement. So this is nice. Usually you have to take the carburetor off in order to replace the fuel lines, but you can see right in here, the fuel lines are exposed, so we could just take a screwdriver and pry those off the carburetor. And I'll try to give a better angle at that, so you could see it better. So you could see right here, this blue line on the front of the carburetor closest to the priming bulb. That's our breather, or that's our discharge. So that just terminates into the tank. And then this other line right here, which goes into this back nozzle on the carburetor, that's our actual fuel line. So we're just going to remove these two, and then our breather tube is right here. It just slides into this little plastic housing. So we're just going to pretty much take a flathead and remove this rubber grommet and pull these two lines out with a screwdriver. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Okay, so like I said, this front nozzle closer to the priming bulb, that's our discharge. That just empties the fuel, the excess fuel in the carburetor, back into the tank. And then this line right here, that is our actual fuel line. Now if you have a full tank and your carburetor is primed with fuel, put this in an oil catch pan or drain the fuel out. Press the priming bulb and drain the fuel out more, so you don't get fuel all over the place. Okay, so fuel line, this blue line is our overflow, and then this is our breather tube. So there's all of our lines. And then we're just going to take a screwdriver right into here and just pry up this grommet. Like so. And there should be a fuel filter on there. It probably fell off in the tank, so I'll fish that out of the tank later. But you can see here's our new setup. Fuel filters right here. And then you can see it goes up into our fuel line, this black line. The yellow line is our breather, or is our discharge, and then this is our breather. So we're just going to drop this into the hole in the tank. Kind of feed it in there, put all the lines in, and then we're just going to press this little rubber grommet into place. Sometimes these are a little hard to get in. You might need to kind of pry one end in with the screwdriver, but they do go in. They're meant to be very, very snug. Okay, so you could see this grommet is in and flush to the tank. It did take some prying to get that seal in there and seated correctly. I had to take the cap off just to give me a little bit extra room to press down with the screwdriver. Okay, so we got that in. Now the last thing we're going to do is just hook up our fuel lines. Like I said, this line right here is going to go up into our breather tube. You might need to pull it out a little bit. Okay. So there's our breather right there. And then this line is going to go on the nozzle towards the back away from the priming bulb. And you want to get these lines as high up as you can get on that brass nozzle. And you might just need to pull this one out to give it a little bit more slack. Okay, so you can see what that looks like in there. And then we'll just tuck our breather into this little hole right there. And then as far as fuel for this, I like to use this True Fuel. It's a 50-to-1 mix that Echo takes. And you can see right here, it gives you all the manufacturers. Echo is right there. So this takes a 50-to-1 fuel mix. And yeah, guys, that pretty much sums up this video on how to tune up and replace the fuel lines on an Echo GT 2000. If you have any questions at all, reach out in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, if this video helped you out, be sure to give it a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, check out my other tool and DIY videos. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.